Okay, well the first of the chords we're going to learn is the G chord, and the first thing to say about the G is that there are two ways of playing it. A lot of people will teach it this way, where you hold the 5th string 2nd fret, 6th string 3rd fret and the 1st string 3rd fret with these fingers: 1st finger, 2nd finger, middle finger, ring finger. And there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that, but when you become more advanced as a player you'll want to do all sorts of faster chord changes and some nice fancy picking pieces where you'll need to access some of these notes here, and that really just isn't possible using this particular shape. So it actually is really beneficial for you if you learn right from the beginning to hold the chord this way. That's the middle finger on the 5th string 2nd fret, the ring finger on the 6th string 3rd fret, and then the pinky just curls over and joins in underneath there on the 3rd fret of the 1st string and gives us a nice G chord. Now the only thing to say about this is that the more perpendicular these fingers are to the fretboard, in other words, rather than being like this, if they are tilted away like this, it's much more difficult to hold the chord down. So what we do is we attempt to adjust this angle here by cocking the wrist. If you can see, my wrist can move that way, and as I do that you'll see that the angle changes from laying down to actually pointing from the other direction to being almost perpendicular. And the trick is to try and get those fingers really as perpendicular as we can. And depending which chord we're holding down will determine how much we tip the wrist, and in fact how far around the neck we bring the hand. Because one of the things we can do when we see that strings get caught by the fingers here is we can solve that problem by bringing the hand around the guitar, which then levels up the fingers, brings them up so that they're more directly at 90 degrees to the fretboard, both this way and this way. So the trick is to manipulate the hand here using the wrist joint to bring those fingers so that they're pointing correctly. And it changes very slightly for each chord that we hold down. For a G chord, pretty straightforward. Hold these two notes and then bend the pinky to catch this note here. Now the first thing that you want to know is that you do not keep the flat of your hand flat against the back of the guitar. And in actual fact we bring it quite a lot away by first of all straightening the wrist this way and then straightening the wrist this way. And what happens is, as you'll see, those fingers then become perpendicular. And the hand is quite a long way around the guitar, you can see, but when we bend the pinky it just naturally drops to that string. And that's one that people do have a problem with when they first start. They have a problem getting this finger placed. And it's usually because the hand is too far around the neck this way, or the hand is too close to the neck and the fingers are tipped. So straighten the wrist, bring the hand around the guitar, and you'll find that that finger goes down quite easily there to give us a nice clear G chord. Now that might look awkward as we're holding it down, but it's a perfectly natural position for the human hand to be in. If we move the guitar out of the way, look, you can see there's nothing really unusual about that shape. It's not particularly difficult. I can put my fingers in those positions quite easily, and yet as you see, as I bring the guitar back, my fingers just fall naturally into the right position. So that's the G chord. Not flat against here, straighten the wrist, bring it around the guitar a little bit, and that's done by lowering the elbow, and so the fingers get more perpendicular. And you'll find that's the easiest way to play that chord. The other reason that we don't want to play this version of the chord is that in the key of G we have 4 chords that we use, which is the G that I've just shown you, the E minor, I'll show you in a second, and the C and the D. And the change between a G and a C using this method is just that. So it's, whereas if I hold the G, or I learn to play the G using this method, as some people teach, then it's a big change between there, all the fingers got to come off, all got to move around and go to there or there. So that's the preferred method. Later on, when we start to do things like a quick change between a G and a C, I didn't bother to even lift the finger that time because I didn't play that string. So that's the reason for learning that version. So that's the G chord. Let's move on now to the E minor.